Hi, my name is Kaylee Craig. I'm a sophomore at Anderson University. I'm an elementary education major with minors in special education as well as dance. And today I'll be going over the ISTE standards for educators for Indiana. I'll be using the Believe, Know, Do template as well. So for Standard 1A, I believe that educators should want to add to their curriculum with the help of technology, and I believe that this means learning new technology as well as the technology that you already know. I also believe that this means finding new ways to help with more than one subject with the technology. So integrating it into your math, into your science, and into your reading and things like that. I know that when used effectively, incorporating technology into the classroom can be very beneficial to not only the students, but for the teacher as well. And currently I'm learning how to create an LMS or a learning management system and working on ways to better my skills in the areas of content within my LMS. As for Standard 1B, I believe that as a teacher you should be committed to being a lifelong learner yourself, not only just encouraging that within your students. I know that depending on the school corporation that I end up working for, they will require some type of professional development in the classroom, whether that be going to conferences or continuing taking classes online or faculty meetings and things like that. Excuse me. I'm currently creating a PLN or a professional learning network, which I'm using as a student right now to broaden my knowledge of the world of education and the different types of things that go on in it. Currently on Twitter, I'm a part of the hashtag ElmSchoolPLN. From this, I've learned a lot of different techniques, a lot of different things that are helping me right now, and hopefully will continue to help me into my life as an educator in the classroom. As for Standard 1C, I believe that it's important to stay current on the different topics regarding technology and things like that. I believe it's important to keep yourself updated personally on the new technologies that are up and coming, as well as the different platforms there are and what they're being used for, what they're being used in. If it's in the general education setting, in the special education setting, things of that nature. I know that in this class I am learning how to use the different platforms to my advantage, to grow my own knowledge and to continue being a lifelong learner like I want to encourage my students to be. One thing I'm actively doing to help grow my own knowledge in this field is that I'm finding new blogs from teachers that are made for teachers. I also watch a lot of YouTube videos of teachers explaining and showing their learning management styles, the different systems they use in their classrooms and things like that, and what they're doing to grow their own knowledge as educators within their own classroom and their day-to-day. As for Standard 2A, I believe that as an educator, I need to know what kind of vision my school and my colleagues have for not only their individual classrooms, but as a school-wide collaboration as a whole. I also know, excuse me, I also know that as a professional, I'm going to need to know what the vision I have for my classroom and my students is before I even get to a classroom. I know that I'm going to need to be learning and understanding these things before I go into a school and work with students. Excuse me. Currently, one thing I'm doing right now is learning all of the different types of classroom management styles that there are, all the different learning management systems that are being used, the different things like that that can help to bring the different visions that I'm learning as a student right now together to create something that will hopefully work for my future classroom and my future students. As for 2B, I believe that as a teacher I'm going to need to continue my training as a professional to be able to meet the needs of my students. And I know that I know that as an educator, I'm going to have to continue learning new and improved means of getting not only the tech for my classroom, but to help my students learn how to use this tech inside the classroom and outside of the classroom, like in their general world or like things they do at home. Currently, one thing I'm doing to advocate the access for my future students is working with my PLN to not only advocate for this type of access, but to learn more about how and why it needs to be accessible to start with. For Standard 2C, I believe that exploration is vital to not only not only be a professional with my colleagues, but to better serve my students in my classroom. I know that evaluation is going to be a vital part of my life as a teacher, and that I'm going to be constantly having evaluations happening from my superiors and my colleagues, but also from myself. Currently, I'm working to self-evaluate and gain evaluations from my peers and my professors that I have at the moment, and I'm learning new ways to self-evaluate and keep myself in check and on track for the different types of things that we're doing in class right now to learn for the education process. As for Standard 3A, I believe that as an educator, you are responsible for creating a safe and welcoming learning environment for your students. I believe that you need to create one that entices and teaches students to not only make positive choices and be responsible for their contributions to the classroom, but to the outside world as well. I also believe that as educators, we're responsible for the growth of students and their personal behaviors as they are a part of the community of our classrooms. So I know that as an educator, I need to be prepared to have students coming from all different levels of personal growth, and I know that not all my students will come to me on the same page. Some could be much more advanced, and some could be farther, a little farther behind their same age peers. But I am currently learning from other professionals in my PLN that the different ways that they are using tech in their classroom and how they are using the different types of classroom management strategies to help students all gradually come to the same page and learn how to be good citizens inside and outside of the classroom. As for 3B, excuse me, I believe that establishing a learning culture that promotes curiosity is also a vital part of the classroom and being an educator in general. This goes into creating those lifelong learners that we all want to create as educators. And I know that as an educator, I need to be encouraging my students to become lifelong learners, and that I need to nurture their natural curiosity rather than squash it, as can happen in classrooms sometimes, for the sake of obedience. I'm currently learning about different online apps and programs that will help promote curiosity and different learning styles and techniques of different online resources to encourage digital literacy within my students. As for 3C, I believe that as an educator, it's my job to help students understand the legal and ethical parts of being a digital citizen as well. So this means helping them to understand the digital and intellectual rights of others online, as well as in person. I know that as a teacher, legal and ethical issues is something that I'm going to be dealing with from day to day, and that I need to be well versed in what they mean and how to go about them safely, ethically, and just as a good person in general. Currently, I am learning in my different academic courses that I need to understand how to practice safe, legal, and ethical practices, not only in the physical sense of my classroom, but in the digital sense as well. And lastly, for 3D, I do believe that as an educator, you yourself need to be a good model for promoting the management of your own personal data and your digital identity as well, which means protecting not only your personal safety online, but promoting for your students to have good personal safety online as well. I know that as a teacher, balancing my personal data as well as my digital identity is something that I will have to model effectively and continue to learn how to model effectively throughout my teaching career as technology advances and changes. Currently, I'm learning through my PLN how to balance personal data and digital identity within the role of an educator and of professionalism, as well as my personal life outside of the classroom. So today I went over the first 3 standards of the ISTE for Indiana, and I used the believe no do method. Thank you for watching with me.